What is up, Chicken and Rice family? We are back for another episode, and this episode is going to be interesting because it's involving a popular but not so liked person by a lot of people, particularly Black women. So if you haven't guessed it, we're going to talk about Kevin Samuels, his views and on dating and Black women, and also people's reactions to him passing, which was very interesting. And then we'll just talk about, dating, as Sean had told us before. He is now divorced.
Oh Lord.
Um, so he's going to soon be entering into the dating world after he does his emotional work. and but it's going to be very interesting because this kind of relates to dating, and you old school like me, you know, and just dating, has changed since you and I were in the dating world, like in our 20s.
Boy has
So yeah, so it'll be very interesting to get to see our views. But yeah, so Kevin Samuels, may he rest in power, whether you agree with his views or not. That is still the loss of human life. I was not a big fan of Mr. Samuels' work. Me personally, and this is the weird thing. Even though wasn't a fan of his, a lot of the things that he said I thought had it made a lot of sense. However, I just did not like his delivery. Um, and so that just was like, I'm like, okay, I mean, yeah, you do have some truth to it. Some of the things that you're saying, but I didn't like the way that he delivered it. What about you, Sean?
well, I think one of the surprising things was I was just the reaction to his death once it was confirmed was shocking to me.
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen or heard Black people cheer or be happy to hear about the death of another Black man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that I mean that is
That
that
was
is
shocking.
surprising.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember. It just crossed my mind. What was the name of the rapper that died maybe last summer?
I don't know.
I cannot remember. I cannot remember.
I don't know. I don't know these new rappers.
It
I don't
dominated
know these new ones.
for about 2 weeks. But I mean, people poured out more love to this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? than Kevin Samuels. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that guy didn't help us with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the music of Biggie Smalls and Tupac. You know what I'm saying? That's
Mm-hmm.
our era. I love their music, but what did they help us with? You know?
Pac was a righteous brother though. Pac was
I
down
get,
for the cause.
I,
You
I
know,
okay, but
he's done some. Because you remember when they had the thing where they had the two white cops that were beating up a brother, and he got out of his car and actually intervened.
he did
So he
that.
was doing stuff for Black folks behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
We're
Pac all day.
okay.
I'm
Well,
Pac all day.
we're gonna. But my point being, and then we're going to. I'm going to take Pac out of that argument. But I mean, there
Mm-hmm.
have been other
Yeah.
um, entertainers, or other Black people of notoriety that have
Yeah.
way that
Mm-hmm.
didn't help the community with anything.
Yeah.
That's the point that I'm making, and we shed tears for this for people that we've never met.
Yeah.
And then turn around, we have another brother who basically dedicated his life giving Black people advice.
I won't say his life. The last few years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
say 3-4 years.
Yeah, I don't even. The only reason he popped up on my radar was when he had gone viral for telling that lady she was average at best. That's when I started.
What was that?
It probably was maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, so let's just say 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But and then people were cheering or happy for Black people was cheering and happy for that. And that I thought was strange, even though you like what he was saying.
Yeah, it was Black, and the thing it was Black men, and because I would expect it from Black women, because he berated Black women, was pretty disrespectful to Black women a lot of times. But there were several tweets from Black men. I was like, oh, I thought he was y'all's hero.
Right. Right. But how quickly things change when when certain people are off the off the board, you know what I'm saying? But but this is what come to expect from our community, unfortunately. Although I have to admit, this is kind of a new low for us.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I agree with this man lock, stock, and barrel on everything that he says. But I mean, everything that he said was not wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Everything that he said was not wrong.
Yeah.
So give me some of the things you talked about, women being average and below average according to his standards. What were some of those things that he highlighted that women just really hated?
His latest viral sensation was that women who are over 35 and unmarried are throwaway women. They're throwaway women. So basically, they're left. No, I think he said leftover women or something to that. I think he said they're leftover women. So that's just the leftovers. So that's those women are the leftover spaghetti in the refrigerator for the past, 3 days or so. Yeah, there's no other viable options out there. So I guess I'm gonna have this spaghetti. That's what the women over 35 that are unmarried. That's what they are.
It's with you. It's actually I like leftover spaghetti. Actually, it's actually better
than when you make it the first day. Hello.
I mean, it lets all that seasoning and stuff kick in.
Yeah, it soaks into those noodles.
Yes.
Slapping. He's slapping. But so that was that. Of course, the viral thing where he told the lady she looked average at best. So that was something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. With him, like I said, I can agree with certain things. Some of the things that I guess I agree with is that you do have a certain, well, how do I put this nicely?
Don't just put it out there.
I have an issue with women requesting things from men that they have not yet obtained themselves. I have, out of my vast array of friends that are, like on Facebook, social media, and just people I've encountered, I've noticed a lot of times they want certain things. And I think you and I had this conversation not too long ago, where they request certain and require certain things of their mate that they don't even possess. So it's like, I want a guy that's 6 feet, whatever, but you're not 6 feet. You're not 6 feet. You're short. You're not even tall. So like, what's okay, I want a man that makes over 6 figures. 6 figures, and up. You barely pulling home. You living out here living paycheck to paycheck. So why are you requiring those things? So it's those types of things. I think that was a big chunk of his message, but it got lost in his delivery. But that's what it is. It's like you can't request things, and a lot of women are wanting these things, and the men, on average, that are going to go for that, go for those types of women, are not going to be in the category that they're reaching for. And that's just a fact. If you are a woman and you have 5 kids, you're a single mom with 5 kids, no shade, nothing wrong with that. Hats off to the single moms. But if you're doing that and you barely are making ends meet, it's going to be highly unlikely that you're going to attract somebody who's making as much money as an NBA ball player. It's highly unlikely. But those were a lot of the things that the women that will call in would be wanting and felt like they deserved, and so I'm like, okay, so I understand where he was coming from, but again, his delivery, and he would call these women bitches like it was a term of endearment. I'm just like, that's just,
men can't do that with women.
I'm just like, but which men can?
Who's that?
Let me be quiet. Let me be quiet because this is about to take a
What are you talking about? What man can call a woman a bitch and it be a term?
Let that marinate in your brain for a little bit. What type of man can be like, bitch? Okay, we'll table that, but I'll give you to the answer off camera. But anyway, we're not gonna go there today. But anyway, so so I did understand what he was trying to convey to the women. But like I said, his delivery was just all wrong and was laced with disrespect. And so, but on the flip side, to the women that are calling in, this was my thing. You have to have something very broken within you, as a woman. Because first of all, if you're calling in, you know what the show is about. You know how he acts. You see how he speaks to women. You know about him and his delivery. So I just don't understand what part of you would want to call in and get advice from somebody who is 9 times out of 10 possibly going to say something to offend you or disrespect you.
Facts.
Because I'm like, there's no way in hell I would call into some dude that's calling women bitches and right. Telling me I'm a 4, and there's no way in hell I would call into that show.
Yeah.
There's no way, and I didn't understand the whole rating women thing, because it's like, you might be a 4, that woman you might think is a 4, but I guarantee you there's some brothers out there that think she's a 10. So right. All of that is relative. That's in, the men who like her, or think she's, I guarantee you there are a group of men out there that would think your 4 is their 10, Right. So I'm like, that just, I don't understand where that even, I felt like it was just another tool to kind of not, to kind of to disrespect women and then kind of chip at their confidence a little bit. It's like he didn't like women who were confident in themselves. It's like that bothered him a little bit, because when they called in, they were super confident, and it's like he just had to find little digs, to kind of tear him down. And I just wasn't with that, but that was the big thing for me. What about you?
Well, I think the unintended purpose of all of this that has happened created some followers of Kevin Samuels that were men.
Oh, child, you get me started on that.
Well, what I found was, because I've seen these guys make YouTube episodes, guys jump on Clubhouse and go on the rooms. And they're these big Kevin Samuel enthusiasts, and they, what I'm saying? And they're basically, cheering them on and saying, yeah, he's right. Women are this, that, and the other. And there's no way these men like us will possibly take these women and all of this other kind of stuff. And I think
it's laughable to me. It's so laughable to me.
It is really laughable because what these men fail to realize is Kevin Samuels wasn't talking about you either. You know,
And not just that, Kevin Samuels wasn't living by what he was preaching. Because I'm like, for me, I'm like, but you don't have a successful relationship. So why in the hell, for me too, why in the hell would I call you to take advice from you and you single?
Right.
You single. You haven't had a successful marriage or a successful relationship. So how in the hell are you trying to give me advice on something that you haven't achieved yourself?
Right. I could tell you and give you some pointers on relationships. You know, I'm sitting here whole divorced, but I think the thing is, I think a lot of these men really jumped on the Kevin Samuels boat, and they were all like, yeah, woman, you average, I'm not understanding or not accepting the fact that, brother, you average. and that's being nice.
That's being very kind.
Very kind. Because quite frankly, you're probably below average just by the way that you're talking right now. He's
below average by Kevin Samuels standards.
Right.
By the man that you're idolizing, you by his standards, you're below average, and you still like, go Kevin, go.
So, you are not this high, what I'm saying?
The high value man.
Okay. That he was talking about, bruh. It's not
what, man. I feel like the whole Kevin Samuels thing, and I guess the one good thing that did come out of it is that it did start dialogue.
Yes.
It started a lot of dialogue amongst our community. So if nothing else, I'm trying to get to a point where I can find the silver lining. I think that's a big silver lining, is that it's starting to force us to talk about these issues and talk about these things. And I did like the fact, because he wasn't all bad. And I did like the fact that he did empower Black men, because there's virtually nobody out there to give y'all support like that y'all deserve. And I think that's what the men were doing. And see, the thing is, if he would have done something, done it a little more with a little more couth, it could have been a very, very powerful movement that he started for Black men. But it was laced with so much foolishness and buffoonery that it was just like, you couldn't see. It was my dad told me. He said, when you start acting a fool and doing the disrespect and all that stuff, people are no longer listening to what you're saying. They're watching what you're doing,
Right.
And so people are not even listening to the message, because I said a lot of it did make sense, but they're no longer listening to the message. They're just watching the foolishness so they can have something to respond to and something to get on him about. Right. And so, but the thing was with the men, it was like, it reminded me when he came onto the scene and got more popular, it reminded me like of the whole Trump era. How when Trump, did all of the closeted racists kind of came out and were just so free, and how they are now, everybody is just they feel so empowered to just let them spew their hate and all that stuff. But I felt like that kind of happened with a certain demographic of Black men, because he basically put the battery in their backs to basically be fuckboys, pretty much is what it is. It's like, because I guarantee you, the ones that are doing all this hooping and hollering are the ones that, when the woman that he told was average at best, I bet you were the ones that would be trying to holler at her. They would have thought that same woman was a 10.
Absolutely.
And so what it is she's there. He's getting on the type of woman that has consistently turned them down and rejected them. So that's why they were all like rah 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 for Kevin Samuels. So it's like
he's calling them women average.
Right.
But you thought they was a 10 earlier. You know what I'm saying? He was taught exactly. You trying to holler at them, they was a 10.
Yeah.
But they down, and now
as soon as they turned you down. But it's that demographic. As soon as a woman turns them down, now she's a bitch and she a hoe, and you ain't that cute anyway. That seems like that's the demographic of women that he's talking to, because I've seen just like kind of like throughout Facebook, I have a lot of friends, and I've seen like a lot of the supporters of Kevin Samuels were people that I've known from like school or whatever. And I'm just like, this is like proof this is solid proof that you ain't got your stuff together. And so that's why you so bothered by, by this woman, because it's like these were the types that were like the ones that I was noticing were the types that were still living at home with their mama, you know, working working a minimum wage job or maybe a little bit above minimum wage job, no college education, that kind of stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm not knocking it. I don't want anybody who's you thought what's wrong with not having.
Yeah,
There's
man.
nothing like that.
Leave the brothers living with their mama right now alone, dog.
Yours is temporary. I'm talking about you ain't never left the nest. That's what I'm talking about. Those that was that demographic. Like you still in your childhood bedroom. Okay. That those are the ones that a lot of those were the ones that were felt empowered during the Kevin Samuels era. It's like, okay, bro, yeah, you still in your race car bed. Like you don't need to. This is the part of the conversation where you be quiet, sweetie. Okay.
He said he's still wearing his Spider-Man underoos.
Okay. And so I'm like, but I would just note it was something that was just very interesting because I'll get on social media sometimes and I don't even post anything. I'll just be scrolling and looking and doing my own little human research. And so that was something I was noticing. I'm like, like I know I went to school with you, I went to school with you, I went to school with you, and you doing the same stuff that you were doing right when we graduated from high school. So it's like, I see why you bothered. If I was you, I probably would be bothered too. Yeah. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting. So I just want to know who's gonna rise to their occasion for bashing Black women now, because they need a new leader. Are you up for the job? Are you?
I'm gonna have to respectfully decline that position.
Okay. I'm
gonna have to respectfully decline that position.
Okay.
I've got way too much stuff going on right now.
Okay. You don't have the time.
I don't just have that much reputation stock built up to be able to handle that blowback. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm gonna have to kindly step aside, let one of these young brothers, you know what I'm saying? So disrespectful. Let one of his
minions. Yeah, one of his minions could go up there and sit on the throne,
Right. Let's do it. One of the questions that didn't get asked, and we talked about this when we was going to do this subject, was you talked about Trump and the so-called followers in the hit and race. And we gave Trump a lot of responsibility for unleashing them. And you just related that to Kevin Samuels and, somewhat being the friend to, what I'm saying? Yeah, right. But, he never ever, Kevin Samuels was never ever supporting, these guys. So how much responsibility do we give to Kevin Samuels for creating, this following that he had? I mean, was that all his fault? I mean, how much responsibility are we going to lay at his feet as opposed to holding these other young brothers or old brothers accountable?
I think the lion's share of responsibility, of course, goes to the men, or to the followers or whatever. But the thing is that with fame and popularity, unfortunately, you do have a certain degree of responsibility. You can't just go out and say what you want to say, especially when you know that you have followers that are very impressionable, and that was one of the reasons for me personally. That's one of the reasons that I don't ever want to be famous. And if I ever become famous, my thing will always be don't idolize me, because I'm human. I'm wrapped up in flesh. I'm completely human, because there's so much responsibility that comes with fame, so much, and so no, I don't think that he's overwhelmingly responsible. I think he does have some some, responsibility, maybe a small percentage of responsibility, because you are putting these ideals in the heads of people that are impressionable. But yeah, but he's definitely not like Trump or nothing, or wasn't like Trump where he was out there telling men to go out and disrespect women and nothing like that. Nothing on that level. But I was just referring to, just how that the supporters were very, very similar, in that they were just, anybody that said anything negative about Kevin Samuels, it was like, they are coming for you. You
Right.
are bitches and hoes. And I mean, I've just seen that in the comments. I'm like, dang, just because this sister doesn't agree with something that he just said, now she a bitch? Like, it's that deep, but it's the same thing with the Trump supporters. It's like, once you say something against Trump, then it's like they get violent and cuss you out and just, and you all kinds of N words and everything else because you don't agree with something that he said. And so that's a big similarity for me. But no, I don't think Kevin Samuels at all is hugely responsible for um, his followers, the actions of his followers. No.
Yeah. I just think that although, you know, when you gain influence,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes I just have a hard time assigning, responsi- responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
because, the followers that were average, I mean, they didn't become average once
Mm-hmm.
they heard him, just like the hidden racists didn't become racist when
Mm-hmm.
they Trump. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
They were already that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They was already that. A lot of these, brothers of black men of all age ranges,
Mm-hmm.
they were already average or below average. Okay.
Right.
They did not need a leader to make them, more average.
Well, see,
Okay.
what
They
they needed somebody to, again, like
there.
I said, to put the battery in their backs to make them feel like they weren't average. Because I think that they are under the belief, with under being a follower, that they are no longer average. They think that basically women are the problem, and basically women need to bow down to men. That's kind of that ideal that I was getting from just looking at some of their comments. But the other thing, what I say about responsibility, though, maybe with, maybe not a hugely responsible for those followers, but I also think about the toll on a woman's mental health. So you get on there and you are talking to this woman and disrespecting her, and God forbid she goes out and commits suicide. You know what I'm saying? Because of some of the things that you said to her. Then what percentage of responsibility should he have been held accountable for? Because it's like like I said, it's a lot of broken women that are calling into this show. And I'm like, when you are out here talking like that, and not acknowledging that there is some brokenness or maybe some mental health or whatever, you got to be careful with how you talk to people, in this day and age. Mental health is a real thing. It's no different than bullying, you
Right.
know?
Well,
So,
one of the things I never understood, and I mean, I never really researched Kevin Samuels. He literally just came out of the blue one day.
mm-hmm.
What are his credentials? Like, what made him the leading expert on high value men, high value women, and you know what I'm saying? And how to get there. What kind of what
According to him, he had all these, I guess, certifications, and he had studied different statistics, and he could spew the statistics at you. Whether or not they were accurate or not, I have no idea. But he made them sound like they were accurate. But whenever he would say, he would constantly let you know what I guess he felt his credentials were. I don't know. I've only watched a handful of his videos, but I have seen him in some, I guess, telling people what his credentials are and why he deserved to be in the position that he was in, because he felt like he was more than qualified to be giving out relationship advice.
okay, but you and I can read, write, and do math too. You
Yeah,
know
I'm an
what I'm saying?
accountant, so I can do math very well. So
You know what I'm saying? But I you know what I'm saying? We know how to read statistics and
yeah,
break down things and look at charts, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? What made him qualify to you know what I'm saying, to become what he became? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's something else that we do in the Black community. We
Mm-hmm.
elevating people up to the top that don't belong there.
Yeah.
You know what
Yep.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And who has who introduced all of these methods that are unproven
Yeah.
or just don't work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why do we do this? What are we
If we
doing?
if we had the answer to that, Sean, I'm telling you, we'd be millionaires. We
What I mean,
would.
what are we talking about? I can go and pull up this phone and read some other stuff, and then I say and be like, boom, okay, Black women do the A, B, C, and D and E.
Mm-hmm.
Well, am I going to become an internet sensation after that?
You might. You might. You just make
It's
up some credentials real quick and just say that you qualify because you've been married, you a Black man, you know how to read,
right. I mean,
you
I
know how
know
to add, subtract.
I can walk and chew gum too. At the
That
same,
all of that qualifies you to give out advice. All of
you know,
that.
I mean, I
All of the above.
certification. What does that mean?
Apparently it meant a lot to a lot of people. So because they kept calling in and he had
That's the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem. You know what I'm
so
saying?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's I mean, that's I don't know. I don't know about all that one, man. But you know, I never I never put that much stock into Kevin Samuels like that. Um
Yeah.
he said some things that I agreed with. He said
Mm-hmm.
some things that I did not agree with. But
Yeah.
I just, you know, but I never wanted to call in on his show. I
Mm-mm.
I never wanted to, you know, talk to this man. I never wanted to talk to him ever. You know what I'm saying? He don't rate to me. Who is this man?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He don't rate to me. Who
Right.
is
Because he would, and then he would go after the men too. It wasn't just him going after women, so
right,
I extend that same courtesy to men. I'm like, your delivery didn't have to be so harsh.
right,
You can talk to people, you can have a respectful, you want them to respect you, but you don't have to respect them.
well,
And then if they disagree with you, all of a sudden they are all kinds of names and stuff. And, but even with all of that, even as horrendous as he painted himself to be online and on social media, I still don't think his death is something that deserved to be celebrated. And not just
agree,
because he was human, it was the loss of human life, but also his family is still alive. And
agree.
people aren't thinking about um, how that's affecting them. He
Yeah,
had a daughter, his mom came out and said she found out that her son had passed away from social media.
right.
In the media, that's how she found out. You know what I'm saying? You don't think about how that affects his family, even though you don't like him. Don't do that to his family. It's like, come on, y'all. And I also believe in karma. Karma is something else. And I
You
tell
will,
people,
so
absolutely, and I tell
you
people
will
all the
reap.
time, karma doesn't always come for you specifically. Karma comes through whatever avenue will get the lesson across.
All
You
facts.
know,
All
so I'm just like, y'all better be careful because you never know. It might be your door that death is knocking at next.
yeah.
So be careful with your words. But dating now in what is this, 2022?
2022.
Ooh, child. Ooh, Sean. I cannot imagine dating right now. These ooh, child. It's like if dating is anything like the rap music is right now,
Mm, mm,
Lord.
mm.
Yeah, I know. But whenever you are ready to start dating,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel confident that your old school methods of dating will work in 2022, 2023, whenever it is you're ready to start dating?
I honestly do think they will.
Okay.
Okay. I think they will.
Uh-huh.
And I think they have a chance to succeed because people don't see it anymore.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you do these methods, you know what I'm saying? Because that kind of stuff that we grew up with, that stays with you. Okay. It's not going, you know what I'm saying? It's who you are.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not something you do, it's who you are, and it just comes naturally.
Right.
Okay. And I think people pick up on that. And I think people like that. They like that that genuine part. And it shows. It does show.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're serious or not. So I do think it is I do think that it does work.
Yeah.
The question of, the question really boils down to is, like you said, are you ready mentally, and and the maturity of the person that you're talking to, you know what I'm saying, and their readiness. There's no sense in bothering somebody who ain't ready.
That's true. Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't no sense in somebody.
And you know what else kind of bothers me too?
Go ahead.
Is that women always, I hear this so much amongst my single friends. They want, I want a guy that's going to open up doors. They want this traditional relationship, and I want a man to treat me this way and treat me that way. But the thing is when that man comes along, he's soft, he's this, he's that. But it's like, well, this is what you wanted. And that's something I do not understand about women. It's like, as my husband is still the type to open up doors, open up my car door. Even you do that. When we go to church and stuff like that, you'll open up my door. That's Brandon's the same way. Open up the door and that kind of stuff, paying the bills and taking care of the household. That was you. You know what I'm saying? That's that old school way of thinking and fixing stuff, just that kind of stuff. And it's just like, y'all want that, but when it comes and knocks at y'all's door, I just cannot for the life of me understand why you always, shoo it away.
Because, well, it's they're used to seeing something else. You know what I'm saying? They like when I was growing up, like mama or my sisters opening the door, like that was a whoopable offense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They need to bring that back. Bring that. Normalize that. Normalize.
There was no walking in front of your sisters, opening the door and just letting it close behind them.
Ooh.
That was, man, if daddy is around, that, you know what I'm saying? That was a wrap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Y'all go to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, you had a flashback for a second. You had a flashback for a second.
That only happened one time, man. One time was all it is. But the part that was almost missed was my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Missed the part. If I did not do that, I was going to be in trouble with my dad.
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of young brothers who don't get in trouble with their dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't have that male influence in their life. And not even just that, also these women. A lot of these women also don't have their dads in their lives. And I think that's the biggest, because I've never had issues, in that department with men. You know what I'm saying? I've had, some interesting relationships and some that just were not, I knew I shouldn't have been in those relationships, but I've never I've never had a hard time finding a guy. And then when I find the guy, I've never had a hard time with having them treat me right, having them dote on me, and, and wanting to make me happy. I've never had it, but I see so many of my friends and just women out there that have that issue. They get these dudes and they won't call them back. They disappear for periods of time. Then, they sleep with them and then I've never had that problem, like, ever. So it's just like, but like you said, I think that's the biggest difference, is that my dad played and plays a huge part in my life, and he set the standard, set the bar way up there, so it's like, if you ain't treating me as good as or better than my father, then it's later for you. That's always been, and a lot of women don't have that standard set, or their dads have set the standard so low that any kind of attention from a man is, good attention.
Daughters need their fathers too.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. It's so important.
Fathers need their daughters too, man, because that's supposed to be the first man in their life that treat them right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
that's the first man that you love is your dad.
Right.
For women, for men, the first woman that you love is supposed to be your mom. Right. So when that gets messed up, then it takes a toll on you mentally, and it changes how you show up in the world. Yeah. But yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. I can't wait to get into more male-female stuff, because I have so much. I don't know. I might have to get like another female, because I have so much masculine energy around me that I end up a lot of times agreeing with the male side of you, or having a male, perspective, because I think like a guy in a lot of ways. And I think that was also another reason why I didn't really have problems with the date, because my attention span was like that long when I was dating. I was like, I'm like, okay, I'm bored with you now. Bye. My attention, oh God, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad, Sean. Okay, well, let's wrap this up.
Let it up. This has been fun, interesting. Learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A nice episode to have, especially from last week's, or the last 2 weeks. We had to break that one up because it was
it was a long one. Yeah,
there was a lot of stuff.
That was a lot,
and there was a lot, and both of us felt a way about that.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys always responding the way they do, way you guys do. And just to close us out, Sujuane, for all your friends talking about they want a guy to treat them right, open doors, feel free to give them my number. You know what I'm saying? Help your boy get back out there.
John, I don't hook folks up. Now, I will make the introduction, and the rest, that's on y'all. I don't hook people up, because you ain't gonna come back and be like, Sujuane, you told me No, I just introduced y'all, and y'all let chemistry or whatever take its course. So I don't mind making the introduction, but
I'm just saying, just get us in the same place. You know what I'm saying?
I can, that can happen. I can make that happen, but yeah, I'm not playing matchmaker.
No, I don't need. All I need you to do is just make sure that I'm here and they're here. You know what I'm saying? I'll take over from there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, y'all. We gonna go ahead and end this episode before Cousin Sean gets himself in trouble. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. A little baby announcement: we are just going to air our content strictly on YouTube now. We're going to kind of do away with the whole podcast platform, because we feel like we get more feedback and more engagement here on YouTube. And so we're just going to focus all of our time and attention on our YouTube channel. So that's what we're going to do. So just, check us here. The link will be in our bio on Facebook as well as Instagram. And we will see you guys next week.
One more quick point of order. This is episode 18, y'all. Okay, we got one more episode, and then after that, we got our milestone 20th episode.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So stay tuned, y'all. I just cannot tell y'all, man. Just stay tuned. All right. Just stay tuned. We love you. I'm Brother Sean, this beautiful woman right here, my sister Sujuane. Look at that smile. And I believe I'm gonna put these pop your tongue like you did last week.
You got to do that when you put on your party cap.
I'll never have
with the new coming at you with a new party cap. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, please, and thank you. But at any rate, y'all, before we get acting silly and this ends up being like 2 hours long, we're gonna check y'all out next week. Y'all have a great rest of the week and weekend, and we will see y'all next week. Peace out.